Thank you, Timothy. Welcome at the Mackenzie Art Gallery. So I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm Fabien, so Fabien in French. I'm the curator of the show, Redistributing the Body, with Timothy, Robin. And I'm really happy to be here, and the reason why we are here tonight is that there are two Canadian artists, Ian Baxter and Inouïe Baxter, you was talking about them, and they weren't artists at that time. They were doing anything company. They were just co-presidents of a company. They didn't want to be called artists. And the thing is that being co-president of the company allows them to do a lot of things, like doing art with telex, or doing inflatable wearable. They've done a lot of things out of plastic, which was not, art material. And so they did invent a lot of things. Really, it's very impressive. They did work in the company, so it was an artist-run company. We call that in France critical company, because it's a way for artists to make a sort of critical point of view on the art world, or on the business world, on the way the society runs. And as a critical company, it makes them more free, let's say. It was really the point at that time. That time is, 1966 till 1978. Here you have some original information sheets from the exhibition Celebration of the Body. It was in 1976. Ian and Ingrid did gather in this exhibition, which was like the first exhibition of that kind, image of the body with sport out of press clipping, out of art, because you got if line on the top with sliding, with jumping into the void. So it was a way for them to assemble some body images out of anything company, of course. And this gathering of images was exhibited like, we have just a portion, because there were 80 information sheets at that. And so we have in the exhibition original one, in the other room also. The exhibition is here, in the hall, and in the other room. And we have done other artworks, but I will just explain all the story. Because when I discovered Celebration of the Body, I was so amazed by the fact that it was an exhibition and it was also a series of events. And it was 40 days of events during the Olympic Games of Montreal, 76, of course. And the thing is that this series of events was judo lessons, yoga performances. You could also see on the monitor the Olympic Games as an artwork. So in the book there are other things, and I'd like to especially focus on two things. One is a little story, and the other thing is a video. So we'll start with the story, we'll see after the videos. The story was told by a great Russian writer, Leo Tolstoy, Count Leo Tolstoy. And this is what happened in his life. He had a library that's considered 79 as a library, so it's full of books. And he was cleaning the dust in his library like that, to have every book really clean. And suddenly, it's over and it's done. But then he had a real problem, because he ends up and he realized he can't remember everything. He just finished, but he didn't notice. He cleaned the thing, but like automatically, so there was no experience. It just
like his life has disappeared. So it, oh, that's kind of a problem. Because, you know, if life starts to disappear, or like you live with people you love, but they disappear, it's kind of a problem. I mean, it's not like, if life of so many people then like that disappear, it's just as if his life hadn't been lived, right? So, in the end, the problem is like, you forget many things you don't live, and finally you aren't even afraid of war, for instance. You know? So, for his way of writing and I would say represent things that have happened before, he decided he would make things differently, you know? To represent something, he would make it different. So to have the same thing, make another thing. That's the secret. So now we're going to send Larissa please the video. And it's a tragic video. Tragic video. It happened in like 2010. Okay. So when I saw this video, I was concerned about the thing. I wanted his guy was 20 years old, so when somebody so young dies, you kind of wonder what happened. You know, it's kind of a mess. So I thought, well, imagine you know, if you say a luge, I'm a luger, so he's a luger, and probably as a kid, you know, if you've never done this, it's really funny to go down and go fast and even to fall in the snow and well, everything. That is funny. So that is problem. So probably I thought he was so given that talented that he's been training and training to go faster and faster, and finally it leads to this. So I kind of think, well, maybe this makes me remember one of the great lessons of the 20th century, and it's important, is that when you want to make things perfectly, then there's always kind of mobility that comes around, right? So you have to take care of that. So, as for this, I had another story in the book. It's another one, but it's close to it. Sorry, it's all in French. So it's 2 à 80%, meaning everything at the rate of 80%. Like, we should consider life at 80%, or maybe behave at 80%. Not always 100%, right? Let's take kind of a distance. Okay. Well, now the rate of 80% is something very incredible, and at that moment, we're getting closer to that thing. So, we're a bit closer to talk about it. Because this rate of 80%, I don't know if you've ever thought about it. It's, for instance, you have to do something, it takes a long time. When you write at the rate of 75%, you still have 1/4 to do right in front of you. But the thing that's different with 80 is you can say, okay, I stop, and I'm done with it, and the rest and okay, it's finished. And it works. So it's very strange. And there's nothing like, there's a scientist who's an Italian sociologist and economist, called Wilfredo Pareto. And he had this theory about, he called it the principle of 80-20. And this is, that's funny. He says, when you have a project which happens, okay, you have a project. Well, you spend 20% of the time to make 80% of the project. And to end up, the last 20% will take you 80% of the time. So he thought like, well, there's many implications or many ways to consider that. But as for what interests me is that 80% is just like, I take Fabien as 100, but this is 100, this is 100. Okay? So now I would be like, no, I'm too far from Fabien. But if I'm here at 80, I'm getting close enough so that I can be 100, you know? Like 80 is the beginning of 100. Get it? Because it's a matter of proximity, like when you're close to a town center, you're feeling here is the suburb, and that's, I don't know, like elsewhere or whatever. You don't make a bet on this, that doesn't have a name, you know? But we're like, I'm in the 100. Okay.
We're a bit the same, no?
Yeah.
Anyway, we are a bit the same.
Yeah, because we're close enough.
Have you seen that we're the same? Or almost?
It's a matter of...
If we are almost the same, we're the same.
Approximately.
Can you see?
Or you're the same as us. It's possible too, because approximately you're a bit the same.
80%.
So...
But I'm not sure they see.
With Fabien, we're really the same. We'll let you see an image. It's a special image. It doesn't exist, but you're going to see it.
You will see a virtual image.
Yeah,
a true virtual image.
Now I have this to take the little thing. This is because we don't have the same size, we're not that.
We have a little trick, not this one, but a little.
Okay.
We will help you to see that we have the same. That we have a proxy face.
Yeah. Okay, this comes from, these images come from an eye specialist. And the thing is, if you take your finger,
you have a finger?
You take your finger, put it in front of you, and you put it in between us, right? And with your finger, you're going to like squeeze on your finger and use it to adjust the image in the background, right?
You keep looking at the finger and at the background. At the background, you have an elephant here, and here a cage. So the objective is to put the elephant in the cage. Okay? It's really easy. But when you've done that, you look at our face here. There is a face, a virtual face. It is our proxy face.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't move and you do the exercise.
You can take photos
if you can take a photo of our proxy face, we are really interested. So you squint well? Did it work?
Yeah. Okay. Now, while you were doing this, I thought about a story. It's a story about another story about the cage of an elephant. One that we thought about was preparing this little performance. It's a story of there was an Australian girl, her name was Amanda Cheung. And Amanda Cheung, she had a great project in her life when she was like 15 or so. She wanted to become an air pilot, right? And it's really difficult because these studies are very difficult, and also she was a girl, and it's not easy for a girl to go to an airplane pilot school. But she succeeded, and her parents were just so happy that they made her like a major gift. They told her, choose a place on the planet and we offer you like travel there for 2 weeks. So she said, oh, the world is it's a large place. No, wait. Oh, I know, Tanzania. Yeah, I want to go to Tanzania, it's a bit like Australia. Okay, so so then she goes to Tanzania, and one night, she's there in Tanzania, the night has come, and she tries to sleep, she's in a hut or so. But she can't sleep because outside she hears something that's strange. It's like a baby crying that goes around. And it's not a human baby, it's an animal baby, and it's really shouting super loud. So she's like in the bed and she tries to sleep. So at the moment she decides to make something full of courage. She decides to take her lamp, go outside and see what's going on. So there she is in the night and she doesn't at first see. And suddenly the noise and here comes a little elephant. She's like that. And oh, she says, oh. But it's a baby, but it's quite a big baby, big elephant. So she's a bit afraid, but she decides she's going to try to do something to him. So she grabs his foot and see there's a piece of iron here. He just woke up, so she takes it. And suddenly she gets it, and the elephant runs away and disappears in the African. So that's part one. We're going to part two. We're going to make a special cinema effect now, make a fade out, right? So to do this, I ask you to close your eyes and to see black, right? It should last 20 years. I do it with you, and maybe if you like it, you don't see black. I'm seeing colors. Can you see these points? They're moving points, and it's like red and purple. So, okay, we're going to do something else. We'll still close your eyes, but now we have to imagine black, right? You imagine matte black, and 20 years will go by.
You can open your eyes because it was an ellipse, and we are now 20 years after. Amanda Shine is now a pilot. She's sitting now, she's very wealthy, and she is such a good pilot that she's invited all around the world to lectures in conferences. As a pilot, yes, it does exist conferences of pilots. Olivier and I, we travel all around the world and we do performances, like photo performances, and it exists also conferences of artists. It's a kind of thing. And she's just after her lecture and at home, she's in a billet house, like Olivier and I. And she doesn't like G-star hotel, so she's in the billet house doing packing her things. And the family comes, she had some time with the family, and they said, oh, Amanda, can't you come with us to go to the zoo with the kids? And she said, yeah, time. I can, yeah, it will be fun. And so they are going to see, and they are just walking around, looking at the animals, section after section, and they are going to the African section. And suddenly, Amanda hears a sort of noise, strange noise, and she recognizes the noise. She said, it's not possible. It was 20 years ago. No. And I don't know what happened in her head at that time, but she became sort of crazy. She jumped into the elephant pit. And there was an elephant looking at her with the trunk, in her direction. And she was really like crazy, but she went to the elephant, and the elephant took her in his trunk and took her into the air, just like that, like a hug, But suddenly she got her on the floor. 3 days of coma. among them. 3 days of coma. And what she learned, that is the most important thing of this story. That's it. She learned that in Germany, there was no wild elephant anymore since years. There are just breeding elephants.
Okay, now we're precisely at minute 25. So the time has come to talk about 1979. It's just the good moments. So, well, at first I must say that I was already alive in 1979, and I remember it was a very, very strange day, but at that time I could not understand why. I mean, I was really happy that this year passes and ends up because I had a bad feeling. But you know how life is. After that, I just forgot it and things went on. But years after that, I was listening, as a teenager, a lot of music, and I had to admit that in this year of 79, the kind of, many music styles had changed so weirdly and really quickly. And I couldn't understand why. So, especially like I was listening to like punk rock music and this kind of stuff, and in 78 the guys, they were full of energy and passion, and suddenly end of 79 they're all like, it's the depression. They seem very low things. It's very sad. Get close to suicide. So I thought, there's something going on. And since then, I must say, I've made it happens to you, kind of, even if you don't think about something, when something comes about it, you take it like another folder and you put it in it. So I've been putting information about 79 from time to time in the same folder. And well, many things. And it ended up, it was like, I would say, like 2 or 3 years ago. I was also teaching in the university around Paris, so I was making a lesson about this 80% thing, etc. And suddenly I realized, oh, maybe there's a relation between 80 being the beginning of 100. So maybe it's the same thing with this year. That's maybe 1980 is just the equivalent of the beginning of 2000. So maybe in the end, what was so strange is that in 79, everything started very quickly to be prepared because it was the end of the 20th century. And 1980 was just the first year of the next one, And I said, like Amanda, oh no, it can't be possible. So I opened my phone and looked what happened. And it's amazing because if you see the world on that special year, it looks like it works. I know it's not a true theory, but it works. Because every part of the planet changed really quickly this year. It's been there was the Soviet Union, and they decided to get into the war in Afghanistan, which led them to disappear. On the same year, in the United States, they decided to give money to integrist Muslims in Afghanistan and in all that zone, which was a strange idea. And it looks very much like the 21st century. And also, just to talk about the great changes, there was one enormous change. There was the Islamic Revolution in Iran, all the same year. And also in China, there was a major change because the Prime Minister decided to tell his people that market economy was just perfect for socialism. So he said, oh now, we'll tell you, get rich, which is kind of a new message for a communist leader, you know? So something, you see that everything changes so fast. That was amazing. Well, to come back to music, I was thinking of something strange also, is that, you know, the punk movement had a slogan, they would say, like, no future. No future. That was the thing. And I realized, because it's the same, Margaret Thatcher arrived to power. All this is the same. And she had kind of the same idea. She said there is no alternative, meaning now it's done. The futures of the 20th century, they're gone. You know, we have just one future possible. So this year was kind of the end of the future, or end of the 20th century. So I put it there in the middle because it's very important. Okay. So we're gonna end up with a little song in French. It's called Les mecs n'ont rien compris, which means it's approximative translation. It could mean like something that the guys who don't give a shit about life. Oh, les mecs, mais pas complètement. I mean, we're the guys who don't give a shit about that, but we're certainly 100% that.